Hey guys, welcome back to the Digital Pen Pals podcast. My name is Zach Schertz. I'm an artist, illustrator, streamer, do all sorts of stuff, including this podcast today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I have the amazing opportunity to be here with Quinn.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. So as always, usually I find people through like Instagram or TikTok, just because that's just the nature of how things are nowadays. And I came across the TikTok that I found interesting, which is kind of interesting because usually I don't come across like just one TikTok that just is like, wow, that was kind of really interesting. But yeah, this time it happened, or where I came across your TikTok about talking about the connection between like having to be fully involved in video editing and I found that really fascinating because like I totally related to that because aside from doing art, like my other love is like doing video work, and so I've been trying to get better
Cool.
and better at that, and it's actually something that I do as my full-time job right now, doing content creation and video work as well for clients and stuff, and so I really kind of related to that, and so I reached out and luckily Quinn responded, so I was really happy for that. But Quinn, how about you tell everybody what you do, including me, because I'm still learning more and more about you. But
Yeah, awesome. No, yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, basically, like I'm all across the board in terms of dabbling in all forms of. I like to try to call myself an artist, but it's always a struggle. But I basically like went to school for broadcasting, TV production, and then throughout the years, I've dabbled in photography. I did the photography thing for a while. um, like professionally, produce videos the last like 12 years or whatever. And yeah, video editing is not something that I particularly enjoy. I enjoy the entire process of video production, but and I've come to learn this, editing is, I don't want to call it the butthole of production, but
mm-hmm.
for a lot of people, editing is not the funnest part. The
Yeah,
production is and that kind of goes for pre-production too. But anyway, so I've been editing for a really long time, and not my favorite thing to do by any means, but it's vitally important to you know creating the proper story and bringing the whole thing together. And that's why I often have a hard time trusting other people to do it for me. So
yeah,
which I'm sure you can understand.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been all across the board. I dabble in some music. I've got a little band with my wife. So I do some producing for that as well, which is a lot of fun. That's more of like a hobby type of thing. And yeah, I'm really more recently getting really into cinematography and filmmaking is sort of my sort of like passion at this time. But I seem to dabble in passions a little bit. So,
Yeah.
I'm all over the board.
No, yeah, I totally
Yeah.
feel you. Like I've mentioned before on the podcast too. Like I just, I do streaming, I do like this podcast, and I do artwork, and there's just too many things to enjoy doing that I just can't settle down and pick just one. I have to do all of them at different intervals,
Yeah.
always.
Hey, if you're enjoying them, I
Yeah.
mean, that's the key. But yeah, it's obviously finding, if you enjoy too many things, then finding the right amount of time for each of those things. So how do you decide what to focus your time on? Like, do you just kind of, do you actually iron that out? Do you block it out, or do you just kind of go with whatever needs it?
Yeah, like I've tried so many times like to try to sit down and have like a schedule. Because there's like a time in my life where I was, I, I wasn't, I was basically doing something else and I had to like schedule everything out. And so I thought I could carry that over into like what I do. And for the longest time, I've been trying to do that on and off. And I realized I had to keep simplifying my scheduling. But now it's to the point where it's just like, it's just kind of like whatever. Like, I guess on a good week, I'll have like a little tiny whiteboard that I have like sitting on my door that just
Nice.
has like days of the week, and I'll just like fill in like, okay, here's a couple bullet points. I can usually get around to maybe one or two of these things if I'm lucky. If not, like I'll erase it and move it to another day and try again. But then most of the time, like a lot of those things don't get finished, and so it becomes like a list of like chores. Because like technically
Yeah.
for me, it's like not
Yeah.
stuff that I exactly have to do, but there's stuff that I want to do to like help prepare myself for like a better future that I like am trying to get towards, which is like doing,
Yep.
content creation and stuff like that on my own, which I'm
I
sure
feel
you
you.
probably want as well.
Yep. Yep.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, so like I felt like I kind of just I use it when I'm feeling a little bit more like determined, I guess, where I really have stuff where I'm like, okay, this week I really want to get these things done because I'm very passionate about it. But then some weeks it's just kind of like I get in a slump, and so it's just an emotional roller coaster of just like, oh, cool, I'm motivated, and then other weeks I'm like, dang it, I'm trash. I haven't done anything this week, and um, but yeah, so I'm
Man,
kind of have to be sporadic and just kind of work with my mood, I guess, and be like, okay, I feel like art. Okay, let's just do art right now. Maybe we'll do a
that's good.
stream. Let's do
That's
that.
That's good. Kind of go with what's, what you're feeling. But I mean, I think that you're not the only one who, struggles with this stuff. This is something that I've learned from. That's why I kind of like the TikTok thing. I
Mm-hmm.
know it sounds stupid. People roll their eyes every time I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm on TikTok. Like, I'm kind of off Instagram. I'm not on there very
Yeah.
much anymore. I'm mostly on TikTok, and it's because of the community and it's because of the things that I've like learned. I post a video like that, and now that video is up to, I don't know, 5,000 6,000 views, which is to me a lot
Yeah.
in terms of like a community. That's a
Right.
lot. And then, there's probably over 150 comments on it. Lots of those are mine, but let's say
Yeah.
over 100 people have like commented on it and said, yeah, I kind of feel the same. I go through, that's like, to me that's a lot of people, because I do think of it as more of a community. It's not just, I would love to obviously grow, but
Yeah.
it's even to know 100 other people are like, oh yeah, I'm sitting here every day, I'm feeling the same thing. It's kind of nice to know that for some reason. I don't know why, but it's just kind of nice to know, because you're just kind of
Yeah.
alone, kind of doing your thing, unless you're working with, I do work with people, like I freelance, I'll work on like not really film crew like level, but a few other people. And then when you're with them, you do learn these things as well. But to see 100 all at once is kind of neat, you know?
Yeah. No, yeah, I feel you. Like I feel like cuz TikTok to me like I mean with anybody, at first you're like, "Oh, what a joke," like because before it used to be like
It's all
more
dancing
yeah, more
and
musically
yeah,
stuff where it's like, "Ah,
yeah,
yeah, that's really cringe." But
yeah,
yeah,
exactly,
like
yeah,
it eventually kind of evolved, and I had downloaded it in like 20 I think about 2019 sometime, just as a joke to like make a few TikToks and post them,
yeah,
which I wish I would have understood what the significance of TikTok, what it would be, and I wish I would have taken more advantage
yeah.
of it. Um, but yeah, so I just made a couple like really dumb ones, just using dumb filters and things, and just be like, I'm gonna do just garbage video, like few garbage videos, and wouldn't you know, all of a sudden, like I was like, holy cow, I got like 200 views, and I'd refresh, and I'm like, whoa, 400. I'm like, what the heck is going on? But like, I
Yeah,
didn't understand how
exactly.
it could fit into like what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
So I'd gained like I think 400 or 500 followers, and I was just like, I don't even know. These are a bunch of 12-year-olds or something. This is crazy. And it wasn't until later that I was like, my friend was telling me that he's like, yeah, because he was like doing stream. He's the one that started the podcast with me. His name's Lincoln, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm doing streaming and stuff. He's kind of the one that sort of like helped me kind of understand the world a little bit better about content creation. And
Cool.
he's like, yeah, so like here's what you got to do if you want to grow like I am. Like go on TikTok, start posting stuff, post more about your artwork. Cause I dabbled with it a few times, but it didn't really work out. And so I didn't really. I was like, it's not gonna work. It's just gonna be just as hard as YouTube or something. Um, but then I started figuring out like the analytics of it and how to like better make my videos for the audience. And I found success in doing like art tutorials. And then it kind of died off. Like I kept making the
Cool.
same quality videos, but they just never got the views anymore. So I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on. So I took like a long break, came back to it, and as of right now, what's working is doing memes. Um, because yeah, like right off the bat, I would just do like dumb little trendy memes with audios and things, and yeah, they would just
And
get
that's
a lot of
working.
views, like a lot.
The trendy audio is
Yeah,
is a thing I haven't really dabbled in, but I know I see other people too. I'm like, okay, like 10,000 views on like it took you 5 seconds. Like,
yeah. Videos that took me maybe 5 minutes. There's some that have like 200 or 300,000 views.
yeah,
So it's like
that's
insane.
crazy.
Yeah, I'm like,
That's so
it blows
crazy.
my mind because I'm like, if this was like
Amazing.
YouTube, this would mean so much more to me. But like,
Yeah.
it's still a lot. But like, for some reason on TikTok, it's like, oh well, it seems
It's
less significant
it,
almost.
the views
It's
just get
weird.
tossed around. It's
Yeah.
it's like there's like a billion views on something. You're like, nah,
Eh.
like literally. I think
Yeah.
I saw one that had a billion. I'm like, what? How? Like I don't I can't wrap my mom actually had a viral post.
No way.
She had like, oh yeah, because she's like a huge hockey fan. So
Okay.
I mean, I'm Canadian, and
Oh yeah.
that's what we do. We watch hockey. So,
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, I don't know. She posted. My brother is a graphic designer. He made like a bracket kind of thing. She had it on her
Uh-huh.
wall, right? And then she like just did like a TikTok, like, this is who I think is gonna win kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And like she got like 300,000 views on it. I'm like,
Dang.
and like 2,000 followers. So I'm like, okay, it's gonna
Dang.
take me. This is embarrassing. It's gonna take me a long time to achieve what my mom. So really, it's if you do get one sort of viral thing, you can get a lot of followers from it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for
Just
sure.
click the little. They don't even have to visit your profile. That's the nice thing. They just
Yeah.
click the little bip. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is handy as well.
Yeah. I think it
Yeah.
just comes with like quantity too. It's just like you do as many as you can, see what works, and then try to replicate it. Or, sometimes I would actually like sort of replicate them, but just do them in a different, like do the same video but a little bit differently. Or
Sure.
I would just do the same genre. But yeah, it took like a ton because I was making like probably like 6 or 9 TikToks a day or something like that. And then
That's tons.
yeah, and then once I could go live, like this is kind of the trick that I found out with TikTok that really works, is because once you hit 1,000 followers, for those that don't know, you can go live on TikTok, and
Yeah.
so I would make a few handful of videos. I'd go live I would wait for them to start to get a couple trickle like with maybe a comment or a few likes or something like that. And I know they're kind of like getting a little traction. Then I'll jump on my live. And so basically TikTok looks as that as like how long can you keep people on the app? And if you're keeping people on the app for long enough, then they'll start to kind of reward you. And so as I went live, it also boosted my content. And so I would see significant
Cool.
like just scaling of all the numbers as soon as I went live. And so for me, as
Wow.
far as I know, like going live has
Crazy.
like significantly helped views and stuff. Because there was one time during a live that I was like sitting there, I was like, oh, let's check on this video I just made. So I was like, talking with my audience or whatever. And I clicked on the video, refreshed on my computer, and it was like I was like, whoa, it hit like 30,000 views already. What the heck just happened? I posted that like an hour ago or something. And I
That's
refreshed
nuts.
it again, and it was like, dude, 60, 80. I was like, what is happening? And it hit 100,000 like super fast. But I don't know, maybe that was just a rare video, but like it blew my mind.
Maybe. Yeah. No, I think the live helps for sure. And like I think if you're doing the right thing when you're doing the live, and
Yeah.
someone just like enough people just hang on it,
Mhm.
and they just keep rewarding you that way, and before you know it, you might have like 2,000 people on your live, and you don't have 2,000 followers,
Yeah.
but you may have 2,000 people, random people watching you, right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And I think we forget that, you know, I always like when I see like YouTubers and stuff saying, if this could be like a small arena, or this could be like whatever, like 2,000 people is still small, but that's
Yeah.
still, if you picture 2,000 people in front of you, then all of a sudden I would be nervous as hell,
Yeah.
but uh, but when you just see that number, it's not so bad, I guess. I don't know. I've never really been there myself, so
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have
but
like what 100 over 100,000 on or is it 300,000? I forget on
no,
Instagram.
no, I do not have anywhere close. No, no.
Oh, really?
I'm
Okay.
like I only have two
Uh,
2,500, something like that. I have a few videos that have some views on my other
Oh,
channel,
okay.
but no, I've never. But like that's another thing, I've never really like tried to grow it, you know.
Gotcha.
So it's been. I always struggle, man. Like I don't know about you. You're an artist, right? So I
Yeah.
mean, how much of an artist do you have to be before you have to try to grow. It's a business as well. If you're trying to do it as a
Yeah.
business, then it's also a business. So I always struggle with like doing stuff that I know just people want to see,
Mhm.
like like the meme stuff, for
Oh,
example.
yeah.
It's not really what you want to be posting.
Right.
It's you want to be posting your art, but it's going to bring more people to your art, right?
Mhm.
So I kind of always struggle with that myself. Is like I have this weird integrity issue where I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it just because it's like popular right now,
Mhm.
but I know that's the best thing to do, right? So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I've never really, I kind of get nervous when we do open mics and play in front of like 50 people. So
Yeah.
300,000 is too much for me to fathom. I don't think I could do it,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, it's super crazy. Like even now like doing the podcast like, right now is like I don't know. I guess like it's kind of weird because I haven't ever done like a podcast in front of anybody yet. Like it's always been virtual basically. Recently trying to incorporate more like video, as long as
Yeah.
other people are able to do so.
Yeah.
It's been a little more helpful because I'm like, oh wow, I can actually see the person. I'm not just because I'd just be sitting there like talking with them and stuff, and it's like messing with something. I'm not even like really
Yeah.
like I don't look like I'm paying attention, but I'm just like
Yeah.
talking and then just doing whatever. But so it's been kind of a little bit
Y-
different to put it on camera though. So I've liked that, and so like the idea of like how many people are gonna end up watching this video? I don't know, 20 maybe, maybe more. Who
Yeah.
knows? Uh,
Maybe 20,000, maybe 20,
20,000.
and you
Yeah.
don't really know. So
And you don't know. Like the
who
people that are
who who
listening
have
aren't listening right now. They're going to be listening in the future when this is like finished edited and stuff. So,
exactly, like you might interview someone and like 2 years down the road they become super famous, and then people start watching their old stuff,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden, yeah, they wouldn't even know if it were me.
Mhm.
And in 2 years, I have 2 million followers, and people will go back and start watching old
Mhm.
content. I didn't know that was going to happen right now. Let's hope it happens. I
Yeah.
mean,
This
whatever.
is your
Two
origin
million,
story.
2 million. You heard it right here.
Yeah, 2 million. Yeah.
2 million.
Yeah, I think like a lot of us that are pursuing that, like I wholeheartedly believe like anybody that's like trying to do this and like is getting better and better each day or each week or whatever. Like I feel like they're gonna eventually hit it. So I think just every one of us is in like our origin story, and it's just
Yeah.
a battle for who can gain the most attention and what are
Mm.
you willing to sacrifice? Because sometimes you
Mhm.
have to like
Yeah.
sacrifice, like, uh, some people are like not very good people like on social media, so it's like they'll sacrifice themselves and their reputation to become popular, I guess. But
Yeah.
then at what
Yeah.
cost? So
That's my issue. That's
yeah,
exactly what I was talking about. I just,
yeah,
yeah. And, the other weird thing about that, actually, which I've never really thought about, but like I also run a business. So I have to be very careful about, I don't want my clients to think I'm a tool.
right,
I don't want them to think I'm some weird sellout guy that's like just, I'll do anything for the views, because
yeah,
that's not really how I run my business. Like, so, you know, as someone who does this for a living, I'm trying to attract clients and gain trust with them, at their, my best interest is in mind in my business, but their best interest is my, main priority. But I also need to attract those people. So
yeah,
I don't want to be a total jackass and just do dumb things for views.
right,
Yeah, it's a weird. I don't know. It's weird, but also at the same time have this like inner thing that just wants to like say screw that
hmm,
and like just be yourself and do whatever you want to do.
yeah,
So it's a dilemma. It's a constant.
yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky. This whole thing is, I find. I mean, I'm 35, so maybe that's old. Like I think that's old for TikTok. Like honestly, I don't even
I
know.
feel
I
like I
don't
feel
know.
like that's like for my opinion, like I feel like, you know, 30, in your 30s isn't like too crazy. I think maybe 40s is kind of like, oh cool, like interesting. Like if they can, like cuz I feel like the older generations like sometimes they'll be like, if they can adapt to like learning how to use it and they don't do cringy stuff, then it's cool. Like it doesn't really matter what age they're,
Definitely.
you know.
No, no,
Um
definitely.
but
It's just like what I guess the problem has been, if Facebook is the example,
yeah.
you know, the young kids love Facebook, and then Instagram came along, and all the young kids drop Instagram, and then all the older people get on Facebook. It seems to be just, in like
Right.
5 years, there'll be a new one. TikTok will be done, and then all of our parents will be on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like I think it just cycles that way. I don't know how exactly, obviously, that
Yeah, it
works,
kind of
but
makes sense. Like we're the pioneers, the younger generation is the pioneers, and then
yeah,
the older people
yeah.
start they're a little slower to catch up because they're not on the wave of the new stuff.
Yeah, and it's tricky to just, I don't know. As someone in your mid 30s, it's like I don't want to look like I'm trying too hard here.
Yeah.
And I don't like, I feel young still, yet I know I'm not, because I'm like, I don't know what's going on in like
Yeah.
trend in cult in like youth culture and stuff. And
Just be on
that
TikTok for
sentence,
5 hours like me and you'll be well
I know
acquainted.
exactly. I gotta go in
it's
like
it's
a
a bad
random,
curse though. Don't do it.
yeah, like one that I'm like not logged in,
Uh-huh.
like just see what's actually happening, and it's not curated. But
Yeah.
the world's crazy. I've learned that about TikTok, which is fun, man. The world's
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
People are crazy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I think it's interesting that people can like video anything, Because like I feel like because I'm 27 by the way, so like for me like I didn't get my first smartphone with like I had flip phones with cameras on them, but they were like 2 megapixels, so it was like that was the best you got was 2 megapixels. That was like the
Yeah.
big thing. Um,
Yeah.
but it wasn't until I think like when I was 16 in high school, around like 2010 that I actually got like my first like iPhone. And that actually had like camera on it and stuff. But like back in the day, it was more just like you took photos and videos and stuff for yourself. And nowadays, it's
Yeah.
like you take a video, it's for content. Whether you're just posting it for your own social media friends or whatever, it's basically content. And we're just continuing the cycle of filming and recycling and having other people watch our lives, and it's kind of wild.
Can I ask you how you have accepted, like, are you a fame junkie, or are you someone who understands that putting yourself out there is going to bring people to your art, or is it kind of both?
Did you ask if I was a fame junkie?
A fame junkie.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. Uh,
Which I don't know any other way to
no,
explain it. Like, so,
yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, I feel like there's a part of me like there's so much that I've learned about myself while trying to do this because I kind of like not like I was like chronically depressed or anything. It felt like it, but I wasn't like ever like diagnosed or anything. But just everyone goes through a period of time where they get really
oh yeah,
depressed, and
yeah,
this had happened probably like a week or two ago, and I was just like in this slump where I just didn't know where I was going with this, and especially after seeing Bo Burnham's special on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen it.
I
Um,
have.
just that
Awesome.
really meta idea of just like, what are we doing? Like what am I doing with myself, and like am I doing all like I started off with good intentions and good reasons, but now I'm just like, I've been seeking for followers, for views, and so at what point do I have to balance that out and be like, I need to be myself, but also being myself like I am being myself by making this content, but then I'm posting it and then I'm doing it for views, but it gets really meta and really confusing really fast. So I
It
went into like a
does.
weird sort of depressed kind of slump where I was like, what am I even doing? And so that's why there's been kind of a pause between last episode of the podcast and this one, and videos on my YouTube channel stopped because I was just in that mode of like, where was this going? Like this
Yeah.
doesn't like every video I post I'm proud of, but then after a while I look back and I'm like, that's just not like what I see myself in 10 years making. Like what's that ever like, not for like my audience, but for me, what's my evergreen content? What's something I don't like, be proud of looking back at still. And so I kind of had to
Yeah.
take a step back and realize like, okay, like there's that part of me that's like the darker side of me that just, wants the attention, kind of like the Jake Paulers or whatever of the world where you just will do anything for a view, right? But um, at the same time, I'm trying to still be myself and find, even if I don't get views, who cares? Just post it and be happy that you made it because that's you. Um, and so I don't know. Like I do see myself as partially that, but then, um, like I definitely want to make sure that I'm bringing people not just like 5 minutes of attention for a video, but that they are wanting to stay because they do realize like, hey, like I'm trying to build like because any content creator is building a community, whether they know it or not. And
Yeah.
I want my audience to know, hey, I get it. Like I make memes about art block all the time, which is like creative block, whatever you want to call it. And people really have it struck a chord with them. And so for me, I'm hoping that they realize like, hey, I get it, and I'm hoping to help you guys along the way to figure out, whether that's like, maybe it helps to watch other people draw art. So come onto my art stream and just chill out and maybe talk with other people and try to figure out how to get through your art block and start drawing during my stream. I don't know. And so like just helping other
Really
people, I
cool.
think is like my goal is like, yeah, at the end of the day, like I do want to be able to make money, have a comfortable living, and be able to do the things that I love and show it to other people, by selling it or by showing it online. But at the same time, it's like if I'm not helping other people, then at the end of my life, like, am I actually going to be happy about it? And so those are all the thoughts that were like going through my head um, during that time where I was kind of like down on myself about everything.
Oh God, man, I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah,
And so many people have been there. Like my wife for sure, I know has been there a million times too. And I think the thing is, if you're an artist and if you love whatever that thing is, you're always gonna come back to it. Like
yeah,
you're just you can't. But you know what? It also is okay to take a break, and it's also okay to like hit those blocks and say, I just need to like do other things right now. I need to just like live a normal life, whatever. Because the from my experience, because I've done so I've hit blocks in video, like in film production. I've hit blocks in photography, and I've hit blocks in music. I've Those are my three main things, and I've hit blocks on all of them, and I've lost the love for all of them at some point. And really, what I need to do is in those moments is take a break from it if I can. If I can't, because it's work, and that's fine. I just push through and just that's it. And then in those days when I don't really want to do it, I'm like, okay, don't be an idiot. You're getting paid to make videos, or you're getting paid to take pictures. This isn't so bad.
Yeah.
But and actually, the other day, I responded on that video that you mentioned. I responded to a comment where the guy wrote, we were just like, when you get into this stuff about art, we understand that there's more important things in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like we haven't lost that, okay? Like we understand there's things happening. But also this is our passion. So this is what we talk about. This consumes a lot of our lives, right? So
Yeah.
we still talk about it. And I don't know, we were talking about it, and it is like, when you take a step back, you're like, well, that's not a really that in the grand scheme of things, these problems are tiny. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we can't listen to music while we're editing. Like, oh, boo hoo. Or like, you can't listen to a podcast while you're editing.
First
Boo
world
hoo. And then,
problems.
yeah. And then some guy comments and he's like, cry me a river. Right. And I'm like, I responded smoke on the water because I was like, are we just naming songs about water right now? Is that what
Yeah.
we're doing? Because I just want to keep it light. I
Uh-huh.
don't like, I know this stuff is like, it's not the important things of the world, but
Yeah.
um, it's important to us, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we're artists, we're creators. We have that thing inside of us that just wants to come out for some reason. We don't really know why.
Yeah.
So, we all hit those, I think, those blocks. And then I think that's going to happen in any sort of, even if you have a job, a 9 to 5 job is a very different story. You obviously need
Mm-hmm.
a break from that, but you need vacation from that too, right? So sometimes
Right.
you need to take a step back and be like, okay. And I think that Bo Burnham Inside special is like particularly good at making you sort of like reflect on that stuff, especially as a creative.
Yeah.
But also like in a healthy way, because look at your back, you're doing this one
Mm-hmm.
right now, and you were able to like reassess. And I think
Yeah.
that's always a really good thing to reassess.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, because like, I've always feared just like, because I'm always thinking about like the long term, like of everything. Like, it's not like, you just become, YouTuber, artist, whatever, in a day, and then it's like, then what? Because like the thing I've been worried about most, like especially the beginning, I was like, oh no, I'm not getting a views or followers, like this can take forever, was the patience. And so I kind of realized like, you know this might take a while, but would I rather go completely viral and be like some big thing overnight, and then wake up that morning and be like, oh crap, I don't know how to do any of this. I just got lucky and had a viral video or something. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Versus now, like, I've been able to like assess, and like you said,
True.
personally, and not just like with like making what art I make. It's just assessing myself and and who I am as a character. So just like, who am I gonna be and who do I want to be now? So that way, no matter what happens, I'm still consistently gonna be that same person. It's just, wow, cool. Now that's like my full time job or something that I get to do now versus uh, something else that I don't want to think about, like maybe I'm a bad person or something. And so I hope to like just keep that self about myself because, I have morals and I have, um, you know, passions I want to pursue, but I don't want to give up who I am in the process.
When you say that you're this character, are
Mm-hmm.
you sort of looking at yourself from that perspective? Like you look at yourself as a character.
Yeah,
Does that
I guess
help
I kind of
you?
misworded that, but yeah, I said that and I was like, that sounds like I'm saying I'm a
No,
character.
I'm
But
curious. I'm
yeah,
genuinely
no, no,
curious.
yeah,
No.
I mean, maybe that's like some sort of like subconscious thing that I said character, but um, yeah, because there is that like, I think the hardest part for me was trying to figure out Because during that like sort of depressive state of trying to figure things out, I was like, I'm this character, like I'm myself, because I'd already thought about it before. I was like, I'm myself, but a little bit more like, just like exaggerated in a way to where it's just like on camera and
Yeah.
stuff. It's a little bit more, because like you don't want to like talk to the camera
You
and be
have to
like
be.
boring.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, exactly. You have to be. Yeah.
yeah, and so I was kind of going through, and as things were starting to happen before I went through that like little state of just like, oh no, what's going on? I started making vlogs, which I think I'm gonna still continue doing, because I always wanted to make vlogs, because I'd watch a lot of big name YouTubers that make vlogs, and a lot of the cinematic photography people I love watching, like Matty Apoya,
Oh
Canadians
yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
Matty Apoya and all those guys, and
Cool.
I love them, and I just was like, man, I would just love to be able to make my own vlogs. Just my life's not very interesting, and so when I was getting a little bit more sad and kind of like just wrung out and I felt dry on creativity, I was just making the vlogs, and it was kind of nice, just like being, I guess, extra normal, where I wasn't like super animated, but I just focused on having like good shots and making it somewhat interesting, and then just having like talking head shots, talking somewhere, and just talking about what's going on, and I felt like that was more comfortable. And so yeah, for me, like I guess I see myself as a character, but then I'm still trying to balance it out where I'm like, be myself but a little bit more animated towards camera, but then also not feeling like I'm lying to myself by acting or doing something that I normally wouldn't do.
Yeah. No, exactly. I
It's
think it's
confusing.
like it. No, really though it is a similar energy that you have to bring to like the workplace or
Mhm.
you don't roll out of bed and then bring that same energy that you roll out of bed
Mhm.
into work.
Yeah.
You step it up a little bit, right? And it's the same thing with me. Like, I'm not gonna if I'm having a crappy day, I'm not gonna go to a client, like to a shoot, and like bring that with me to the shoot. Like so many
Yeah.
times I've like pulled into the parking lot. I'm like, okay, we're here. Like time to work. Stroll in, like put on the happy face, put on the thing, and and then actually when you do that, what the nice thing, and maybe you find this when you interview, or maybe you find this when you do, you stream or whatever, you
Mhm.
do your vlogs. It takes you out of that rut. Like I find that it will take me out of the
Yeah.
rut. If I'm in that rut and I get to a client and I have to turn it on, it helps me just, unless I'm like super low. And
Right.
sometimes that happens. And I've been to shoots where I'm like, I just got to get this done and just do my
Mhm.
job. And, but most of the time, it's nice when you can run into another person who's maybe not having that rut day
Yeah.
and they can just bring some normalcy back, which unfortunately you don't get online. But
Yeah.
you can get it when you're in this form, but,
Yeah.
not when you're vlogging because it's you.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like listening to music or doing art or whatever, like doing whatever craft you're doing, it like you step out of reality, because like you're no longer concerned about anything else around you besides like what you're doing currently.
Yeah.
And I think that does help with um getting out of that rut. Um because sometimes you kind of just like sit there and anticipate whatever you're supposed to do, and like that happened to me too, like a while ago too, with streaming and stuff on Twitch. I had just felt so burnt out, and I was like, I got to the point where I was like scared to draw, like not really scared but just like very nervous, because I would draw stuff and I'm like, I'd talk about it like, haha, this is so crazy, and inside I'd be like, oh my gosh, this looks horrible, what's going on, I don't have any idea what I'm gonna draw for the stream, it's gonna look so
Oh man,
bad, and I feel
that
like an
would be me for
amateur,
sure.
imposter
Yeah.
syndrome. And so I was like, dude, this is
Yeah.
crazy. So I had to take a step back. And so um,
Yeah.
I had to actually like relearn how to love drawing again, because I felt like I had created
Crazy.
myself, like I draw for content versus I draw for fun and then later for content. Right.
Oh,
Ugh. And it's just,
isn't that the
I
isn't
hated
that the
it.
battle?
Yeah.
That's so the battle, man. And I think like I don't know, do you ever look at other people's feeds and be like, I can just feel like you're doing that, you don't love what you're doing. Like
Yeah.
you're doing this because it's, I can't obviously I wouldn't name anybody,
Yeah.
but like I can just I feel that sometimes when I see people's feeds and I'm like, okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
only have 2,500 followers on Instagram, but I would rather have and I like I said I haven't been on it and I don't really post that much, but
Yeah.
like I'd rather be there and like just posting whatever I want than like feeling like I can only post this one thing, and if I don't, then I'm going to lose followers and go through that whole game.
Yeah.
Um, because it's I want, like you said, I think you mentioned earlier that you want to be making content for sort of for the future, like for that more like for me it would be passive income, right? Like
Yeah.
I want to make content now so in the future I can do other projects that I just want to do. I want to make
Yeah.
series, and I don't want to have to go and do the corporate, video and photography thing my whole life. I'd
Yeah.
rather be able to make content, be making some money every day doing that, and then like, go and do some which I am doing, which I would love to touch on.
Oh yeah, of
But
course.
that's more what I want to do. I think that's the goal, and I would assume that's the goal for you is
Mhm.
like get that going now where you can like build your little following and like make a little bit of money doing it, and then you can work on the passion projects as more, at least if you could go 50-50 with passion projects
Mhm.
and income projects, that for me would be amazing because
Yeah.
I've been doing it for 12 years, like since I graduated school, and
Wow.
I'm not anywhere close to that. I'm still in that, do the work to make the money kind of
Right.
mindset. So, but
That makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, would love to touch on this little doc thing that we're about
Yeah.
to explore because I think it's a good cause.
Yeah, of course.
So, this is something that I've been meaning to do for a while. I wanted to start, telling stories, like important stories
Mhm.
that really have an impact on my life, but also the more people that watch it, the more the awareness will, be there for whatever the thing is. This one in particular, we've sort of been hooked up with this guy who drives out to northern Manitoba. If you don't know where that is, it's cold.
Yeah.
It's cold Canada, basically.
I lived in Idaho for a few years. I
Okay,
think I got close to Canadian
cold,
cold. Yeah.
close to
It got
Canadian
well,
cold.
I mean,
Yeah,
it got to
yeah,
like what -20 was like the lowest it got one time. But normally it was like,
that's
negative
close
12 to
enough.
like, yeah, close enough for cold, right?
You were like, I could do this for a few days and I'm done. Yeah, we'll get to like a -30
Uh-huh.
situation, and it's like, eh.
Yeah.
And we got actually surprisingly very humid out here, which a lot of
Really?
people don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's been like 40. Do you guys do the humidex thing or no?
I don't think so.
Where it's like it feels like a
Well,
certain temperature.
sometimes actually, yeah.
They'll do
Yeah,
that.
it'll
Then
do
so
feels like.
our weather does the feels like thing, and it's like 42 Celsius, which I'm not sure what that
I
converts
think
to,
it's
but
roughly around like 90 or
quite toasty.
something.
Quite toasty.
Yeah.
No, it's got to be higher than
No, actually,
90. Give me.
it is higher than that. Sorry. Yeah, I like lived in Peru for like 2 years, and so like
Oh,
I
okay.
sort of
Nice.
learned the other system of measurement, but
Yeah, yeah.
us
A
Americans
little
are just like
conversion.
we're stuck in our ways apparently.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
I
think it's
get
like
it.
a
I
hundred
get it.
and I want to say like
It's
100 and
it
up,
is
110 or
it's
something.
toasty. Oh, it's
Yeah,
over. Yeah, it's like 110 or so. It's hot. It's
yeah,
uncomfortable.
it's always
It's been like that
110 here
around
in
here.
Arizona as well.
Oh yeah, it's been like that around here. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Side note. But so anyway, yeah, we've been just the other day we did a little introduction with this guy. Went and met him, and he's rescued. Well, he's done 12 trips up to northern Manitoba. It's a 33-hour drive from where we are.
Holy
So
moly!
he drives up to northern Manitoba, rescues 50 dogs, and then brings them back, and then
Wow.
distributes them to the different rescue organizations
Yeah.
and stuff. So we're gonna do a little mini documentary on him, and then the long term sort of like the dream project would be to get enough funding to follow him there, on a trip.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Um, which sounds to me insane, but of course these people that do these crazy things, they downplay the how crazy it is. So
Mhm.
we were talking to him the other day, and this is something, by the way, that I do for anyone out there that's like pursuing interviewing in any way, or sort of especially doc stuff where you're gonna like plop a camera in front of someone.
Mhm.
I always like to go and like at least meet if I can meet the person first, just get to know them. Like I think that's a pretty general rule versus just going and like plopping a camera right in his living room and being
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
so just go and talk with the person for an hour first
That's
if you
what we do
can.
with our client work
um
is we sit down and chat with them for a bit and it becomes more
yeah
friendly and then
it-
you're able to like, okay, let's talk about the camera
yeah
now and start to introduce that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we did the other day, but it's in the works. So these are the kinds of projects that I I want to do more. And obviously, that'll be coming out sort of as we haven't even shot anything yet, but I'm just, I'm excited about it, and that's the kind of work that I want to be doing more of that stuff. It feels like good to do the, not only it's a passion project, but the stuff that's like good for the world,
Yeah.
And like you said too, with your little like with your drawing, like follow along with me if you're in a rut or whatever, like that
Mm-hmm.
stuff's great. Anytime you can contribute in some way, it feels good. So
Yeah.
more of that for me, for sure.
Yeah.
I want to anyway.
Yeah. So, like, is that your end goal that you see yourself like doing like documentaries with other people as like passion projects, or is there even more that you're thinking about doing?
Um, yeah, it's kind of, I would say both narrative stuff and documentary I would like
Mm-hmm.
to do in the future at some point, but right now definitely the documentary stuff is calling. Um, and as someone that does some editing yourself,
Mm-hmm.
the storytelling aspect, I think a lot of I know you're interested in video editing, and I think something that gets lost with a lot of people, that not lost, but people that don't understand documentary filmmaking wouldn't necessarily understand how involved the editor is and how important the editor's job is in a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Often they're getting 100 to 120 hours, like for a feature doc they're getting 100 to 120 hours of footage, and they're actually creating a story based off of that footage. So they'll
Yeah.
get a little bit of guidance from the director, but for the most part, it's really, going through the footage, sorting through, and then deciding what the story is, and then communicating with the director and finding out like, oh, is this a good angle? Is this where we want to go with it? And then maybe, whoops, I just clicked off. And then maybe, they'll get more interviews, they'll get more B-roll stuff that will be in line with that story kind of thing. But the editor is so crucially important. So I'm kind of very interested in that because, like I said, editing is not my favorite part of any of
Right.
of the production process. But yeah, with documentary, I'm curious to see how that goes. Now it's a ton of work though.
Oh yeah.
That's the other thing. Like there's just so much. Like think about 100 in a feature doc, 100 hours of footage is a lot just to watch.
Yeah.
That's crazy,
Usually,
right? So
usually, if you're the one filming it, you kind of want to be the one editing it, because then you know what footage is
yeah.
there, typically.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless you don't even want to see it again in your life, which I could imagine that's
Yeah,
possible as
because I
well.
can't imagine watching
Um,
hundreds of hours of footage, like scrubbing through it and being like, I don't know what's going on here, because I wasn't
yeah,
there.
no, and that's
That's
what
tough.
happens. I've been there, and I've heard other editors too, where they're like, I don't, you just have to sit there for a week and just watch footage. Like that's your job, is just to watch footage for a week and then try to wrap your head around try to develop a story. And as I don't know if you've watched any of my older TikToks, but there were a few that I did where I was like really talking about the storytelling aspect, because that is something like, of course any editor can add the flashy transitions and text and presets and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but really the art of editing is in the story. So
Yeah.
you have to be able to weave a story together, and that could be in a 2-minute video or a 1-minute video or in an hour and a half documentary, right?
Right.
But even in a 1-minute video, I'll try my best to weave a story. It's tough,
Yeah.
especially with corporate. Yeah, but you're always trying to play on the emotions. That's what I sort of always tell people, like new editors. You gotta understand basic human emotion. Like
Yeah.
first and foremost, understand what gets people kind of going. Like what's gonna get people to like want to keep watching the video.
Right.
And our clients are smart enough to know if the video is going to get people to continue watching. Especially like, let's
Mm-hmm.
say it's like a nonprofit, and they know what kind of people that are going to watch their video. They know if people are going to hang on it or not. Like they know that stuff, right? So
Right.
um so it's really important to understand basic human emotion as an editor, and then be able to, obviously, the real skill of editing is being able to like evoke that emotion through the editing. I
Yeah.
don't even know. I don't even know what I was talking about. Sorry, but We're talking about editing now, so it's all good.
Yeah. But yeah, so I feel that like there's been there I mean even just like shorter YouTube videos that aren't really considered documentaries, like if it's something on the topic that someone's interested in, like I know there's been a number of videos of people talking about their journey as like content creators and like stuff they go through. And every time I've watched videos like that too, like I've just like obviously you're private, so like your like emotions are on edge or whatever, and I'll like be watching it by myself and I'll just like start like crying and just like, yeah, I feel that that's exactly what I want to do, because the way they portray it is how I feel about it, and now it's visually represented, which is what is magical to me about video, is being able
Yeah,
to visually
for sure.
represent something that you feel, or you're trying to help other people understand. And I think that's what keeps me going about like trying to do videos, especially vlogs, because I feel like it's such a personal expression of like, here I am in this moment and this is how I feel, and I'm trying to portray that to you through a video. um, and
Really cool.
I love that. I love that about video.
When I finished school, I mean, none of this stuff existed. Like Facebook existed when I was in college, but you know, I don't even think YouTube was really a thing yet.
Yeah.
And video was really, when I got out of school, like it was a luxury for a bit. There was a period in my career and when I was running my business where I was literally like telling people like I know it's a luxury, like I know it's, it's not a necessary part of your marketing, yada yada, yada. Like that was the thing that I was trying to like pitch video, right?
Right.
Um, and now it's like, oh, it's so obvious that you need video. It's so and I love your sort of like analysis of what video does, and it's true. I actually forget that, to be honest.
Mm. I
It's
forgot
good
until
to
I
hear.
said it, honestly.
I,
I just
right?
kind of forgot
It
about it, and I was
is.
like, oh yeah, that's why I like videos. That's why I like talking about
It's
it, because I
so.
say stuff that I forget.
Yep, exactly. No, and it's so true. And you sort of you forget these things when you're like so involved in it, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, school like TV production. Now obviously like I kind of look back and like as I reach my mid 30s, I'm like, I could have gone the film route because I like taking my time with stuff now. Like I like to get more of a perfect shot versus like get as many shots as you can. Like that's
Yeah.
just I've gotten to that sort of point in my career, I guess. Um, but yeah, it was honestly like it's crazy how the video thing has just taken off. It's wild. It's really really wild, and it's hard to keep up with like the technology and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it's amazing as well because when I was in school, like it wasn't easy access to good quality video cameras
Yeah.
even, right? We were shooting like 480, I guess it was 480p, not 1080.
Not
Like it
terrible,
was.
but not
I
great.
hope it wasn't interlaced. I hope it was 480p.
Yeah.
It might not have been, but yeah, it was. It was SD, and I learned on like black and white viewfinders, and
Okay.
I'm talking like it wasn't like I was that old that was film,
Yeah.
but it was still like even I graduated school in 2009, and
Yeah.
um, it was even then. Now the
Yeah.
technology was like creeping in, but our school wasn't quite
Yeah.
there yet. So,
No, no, I get it. I
um,
was in ninth grade actually in 2009, so like I remember
okay,
how it was. It was definitely not like, the market wasn't super huge on cameras and stuff yet. And I just feel like with the advent of like
no,
social media, video getting more incorporated, and then also you got, people that are talking about cameras, like people that I've mentioned before that I watch on YouTube.
hmm
They talk about cameras, and I think that helps push a lot of the momentum for people, for camera companies to keep pushing for more cameras, because they're like, oh, we can send this out to this influencer and they can talk about it and we can get money from it. So it's like a huge like connected market.
it's crazy. And honestly, I also grew up in the time where like brands were like you had to get like real strict permission to
Mm-hmm.
like use a brand. And now people are just like doing spec commercials like with the brand,
Yeah.
and like of course the brand loves that. Like why
Yeah.
wouldn't you love that? It's like you're just getting it splattered all over the internet, right? But
Yeah.
um back, and I'm sure you remember too, like the old days of YouTube
Yeah,
when
the good old
like
days.
I had a viral video going at one point,
Oh,
and
really?
no, it was a stupid video, but I made it when I was in college.
Well, all the videos
Took
that you YouTube at that time were just stupid. Either comedy
dumb,
or that they weren't. They were just like dumb
so
or
dumb.
silly. Yeah.
Yeah, and mine was one of the dumb ones, and I took like a terrible, terrible cover of Final Countdown, Europe's The Final Countdown,
Uh,
and I took that audio and I put it over the actual video, but I like timed it because the timing, the band did not play the time like in time and everything, so I had to time it. And it was like people were loving it, and I'm getting all these comments, and like this is like early YouTube
oh
days, right?
yeah.
And it's up to like 60,000 views in a week, and I'm like, this is
Wow.
great. And then all of a sudden it just gets like flagged
Oh
and
no.
taken down and never to be seen again. And then a few months ago I was like, oh my god, what happened to that? I was talking to one of my friends, and I was like, I got to show you this video, I got to find it. Logged into my old account, and it's live on YouTube again
What?
because of how like everything has changed, right? So
Yeah.
now Europe, the band will make them, or the record company will make the money from the play, even though it's a terrible cover of the song, but they'll make their money. So
Right.
yeah, that's the full sort of circle that I've sort of witnessed from one of my first uploads to where we're at,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
That's awesome. And so like
Pretty cool.
do you see yourself as like doing like I don't know if it's like it could be seen as like a necessity or maybe just an additional thing that you can do. Um but is being like a YouTuber something that you've thought about doing, like that you've wanted to do?
I struggle with that with the YouTube thing myself. I put myself out there
Mhm.
on YouTube, but to be like a vlogger, that's something that I struggle with. I don't know if I have I don't know if I could muster up the energy to do it, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
that's my concern. And it's sort of like you were touching on that a little bit, right? It's like you have to have a certain level of like, I don't know, drive in any given
Yeah.
day to like
Yeah.
do that even. Because if
Right.
I'm like, I'm not really like, like between the other thing with me is like once my daily sort of tasks are done when it comes to creating videos and as a job, then I kind of often want to just not do that. And that sucks a little bit. That's part of the job that I want to try to change, and I've been trying to change for quite a while, is making it more passion. That's what I was talking about, that passion project
Mhm.
stuff. Doing more of that instead of just constantly doing client work.
Yeah.
Because you just sort of lose the love for it, and the thing that got you into it as a hobby originally is kind of gone. you know
Right.
um so yeah, like I mean, to answer the question, like I don't I would like to do you I would like to here's what I really want. I want to make YouTube money,
Yeah,
but I don't want to
yeah.
be a YouTuber.
Yeah, yeah, I see ya.
Like
Yeah.
if I'm being completely
Mhm.
honest. But actually I've had some success. So for a while I was running a YouTube channel called Textual Healing, which was where
Okay.
it's supposed to be like sexual healing, which is like a
Uh-huh.
song.
Yeah.
Um, I don't even know the song, to be honest, but it was play on words. It was working pretty well. I was getting thousands of views there for a while. Like I
Oh
have
wow.
a few. It's just like tech tutorials kind of thing.
Yeah, tutorials are
Silly, the
good.
silliest. Yeah, tutorials are good. The silliest things were getting me. I think I have like a video on how to change the scroll direction on a Mac is up to 30,000, 40,000 views
Oh, well, that's something
now.
people like look up.
That's something people look up. So
Yeah.
like I hit a couple of those early before anyone else kind of did, and that was kind of the secret to it. So I had myself out there in that way, but it was only my voice.
Mhm.
So I was still not on camera. More so not because I was like afraid to be on camera. I just didn't have the right setting. I didn't have the right equipment, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so, since then I've definitely posted a couple on YouTube, but yeah, it's like I know the value of YouTube, and it's just a matter of like making the time investment
Mhm.
um, is honestly the biggest sort of challenge for me. And understanding that it is going to take a year at least But then every time a year
Yeah.
passes, I'm like, oh my God, I could have I could have been doing this the past year and I'd be much better off than where I am now. So, it's always that tricky thing, but um yeah, I would like to, and like I know that you're working on it, and you've
Hmm.
got another. You said you have another channel, right? Other than
Yeah.
the
So this is the
podcast,
podcast, and I have my own channel for myself.
and is that the vlog style that you're talking about?
Well, it's everywhere. Like I've made like Minecraft videos. Like I enjoy like the idea of a lot of different videos where I'm like, oh, because like in the future I'd love to just make whatever I want and for it to be equally received because people. I'm hoping that people subscribe for me and not just because this guy does X thing and if they don't do X thing then I unsubscribe or whatever, which does happen.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen like too much success on my own YouTube channel. Like a little bit, things here and there, but nothing like of crazy, like, oh wow, this is really going somewhere. But it's been like a slow trickle of like just slowly improving. And I think that's what's like good for me is like it goes the same thing with like art style, like with drawing and stuff. Like people always try to find their style, like, oh, what's my style? It goes the same way with anything really. You're trying to find your style, you don't really know what it is. You're like, what's my signature? I don't know, it's hard to tell. But then you just kind of it happens naturally. You can't really force it and a lot of times you just mimic a lot of other styles that you see and like. And so for me, I'm into like I have a variety of like different, for example, for YouTube, like I'm into a bunch of different types of YouTubers. I like art YouTubers. They're just very chill. They just do their artwork and talk about it for an hour, and I really like watching that and doing stuff while watching it. And then also like people like maybe like Markiplier or people that do more like high end
Yeah.
high character driven stuff where they're
Cool.
really
Yeah.
entertaining to watch. They're really funny with their improv, and so I've gone all variety of that way, and also with filmmaker YouTubers, and
Cool.
so I'm trying to like find like a cool niche for myself, just in my style of like, hey, like I've been trying to do like Minecraft videos, like throwing in memes and just editing the crap out of it, so it's like super highly entertaining, and it showed on the analytics of just like people being retained watching it because it was entertaining and it was edited well to the point where it just kept their attention the whole time. And then there's other
Nice.
videos that it drags on a little bit and maybe that's a little bit more not for everybody. And so I don't know. I've been trying a bunch of different types of videos in the last while. But yeah, like we were talking about tutorials. That's been on my mind for a long time. I was doing it on TikTok. It worked really well for a while, but then I felt kind of disillusioned because it stopped working, and I kind of felt a little stressed about trying to teach everything. And so I think like my plan from now on is to, anytime I have like a cool video idea, I'll do it, of course. But like, that might be outside of like what I'm gonna be doing now. But I plan on trying to do more tutorial videos because I realized I wasn't thinking like, oh, I want to grow. Why aren't people watching me? It was because they're not finding me. Like unless I tell them where to find me, they're not gonna care. They're not gonna find me on their feed.
Yeah.
So like
Exactly. Yeah.
what you did, the tutorial, people are gonna look that up. And as I've been learning more about like SEO, like just like content optimization of like being found in search engines and stuff like that. If I'm not
Hmm.
thinking about like what's something that's really big that people don't know much about or are going to type a lot. And so I'm trying to think of tutorials where I can do that stuff and
Yep.
I'm trying to do my passion projects as well on the side of like doing um like I might have like projects where for instance like I made these stickers. I just got them in the mail a while ago, but
Nice.
yeah, they're
That's
like
really cool.
holographics. So they're really fun. Um,
That's
but
awesome.
shout out to Sticker App. That is not
Nice.
paid promotion at all, but I do like their product. And yeah, I'll usually find like projects that I like doing. Like right now, I'm working on a webtoon that I'm starting to post. It's like scrollable comics on your phone, and I've
Cool.
always wanted to do that for like since like 2017, and I'm finally starting to do it. And um, I'm thinking of ways of like how can I do my passion project because it also helps me learn and grow. It's like a project in school. I don't really know how to do it all per se, but I'm going to jump in full head first and try to see what I can figure out. And then I'm hoping along the way that as I'm doing this, like, hey, I'm already doing this. Why not like film a process video or take the streams that I'm doing where I'm
Exactly.
developing characters and turn that into a video and be like, hey, here's a tutorial, you know? And I'm trying to think of ways to be more efficient to where, like we were talking about before, like how, like, oh, I'm doing filmmaking and stuff, but then how do I don't want to have to film myself vlogging it or whatever. So, it's a lot more extra work. It's like double or triple the work, honestly.
Yep.
So how can you like
Yeah.
make it more efficient? So like that's how I've been trying to think about it is like from here on out, I kind of want to try, like, I guess more niching down on like my subject of like, okay, here's art tutorials, because people aren't really going to care about me or my personality too much until they realize, hey, they provided value. Now
Yeah,
I'm interested in their personality, because I feel like I've been kind of going about it backwards, trying to be
and they've
personality
got to
first
find
and
you
not value
first.
first. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you mentioned the perfect thing. Like they need to find you in order to find out they like your personality. That's the
Right.
biggest trick that I've like learned of all of this stuff, right? If they can't find the value if they can't find you first.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of like, yeah, getting the traffic, getting people to see it in the first place, right?
Yeah.
That's always the trickiest part for me. But SEO is good. I mean, I do some of that stuff myself. I work with clients on that too. Like I
Mm-hmm.
do. Actually, web design is my like side hustle. It's been for a while.
Oh,
So
awesome.
I understand that stuff pretty well too. But yeah, it's I mean, you're doing the right stuff. So that's all you can do. Keep putting it out there, and then the right people will find it at some point, right?
Yeah, right.
And you did the right thing. Hey, you found me. You got a
Yeah.
follower from me.
Yeah. That's my
So,
secret, as I find people just to
right?
follow me. No, just kidding.
It only
Uh
takes you how many hours of work to get a follower? That's
yeah.
not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot of work for a follower.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot of work for a follower. Um yeah, like, and I think like what I find interesting is why I was so interested in the podcast was like I mean, obviously the idea of doing your own podcast is kind of cool, because that's like, oh wow, you have to be big to have a podcast, because everyone that becomes like a YouTuber or something, all of a sudden they're like, oh, we're doing a podcast. You're like, oh, are
Yeah,
you now? Like,
yeah.
and so like the idea of like doing it was fun, but then also like I came to realize really quickly, whether I knew it or not before, was like the opportunity that I have to like learn from like so many different people from different walks of life and different places. And I think when I thought about a podcast before, I was always like, oh, in person. But then since COVID and stuff happened, like that was kind of like the catalyst to everything. When I started the podcast with my other friend, who's no longer on the podcast right now, but I was so passionate about that, I wanted it to happen, so made it happen. And then yeah, it's still working. And I think it's fun to not only learn myself, but know that these things are recorded for other people to like learn from. So it's not just
Absolutely.
me that is like benefited, but that other people are. So again, this is kind of meta, but like this podcast is the value to other people that hopefully might get people to be interested in other stuff that I do or stuff that you do, depending on what they
That's it.
learn.
That's it. Yeah, I'm hoping to maybe take little chunks and post it
Oh yeah,
myself
for sure.
if you're cool with that. So,
Yeah,
because I think we talked about cool stuff, man. So,
dude. Yeah,
know,
it's always
right?
good. It's always good stuff. Like I always come walking away from something being like, oh yeah, let's go conquer the world. Like I feel like I got this figured out now. Like someone else in the world understands my
Yeah.
pain.
No, you bring interesting perspectives to me because what I'll tell you something. When you were talking about your style
Mm-hmm.
and like having and I'm just like, "Oh my God, this is crazy," because like this is part of what I struggle with because as a photographer and a filmmaker and like when you're just taking photos and taking pictures and stuff, unless you're getting really artistic with it, it's
Yeah.
hard to bring your style into that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
But as an artist, you can really change that very easily. You can bring your
Mm.
style right into it. And so that was an interesting revelation I was having while you were
Oh
talking about
really?
that. I'm like,
That's awesome.
oh my God, yeah, this is something to take a look at. How can I, as a filmmaker and an editor and a photographer, like how can I do what you're doing in your art as an illustrator?
Yeah.
How can I be an illustrator in any of those things?
Yeah.
That's a good sort of that's a good takeaway for me. I will have to digest that a little bit, but
I'm glad. Usually I'm the one that's learning more stuff than anything.
no, this is great, man. It's great.
That's
It's been
awesome.
it's been fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
But
thank you
yeah,
so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it. Like it's been
no,
awesome getting to know you.
it's been fun. I was just gonna say I'd be happy to come on anytime again
Awesome.
down the road
Uh-huh.
as you continue to grow and I continue to grow and
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch your transformation journey and all that stuff on TikTok too. But I have yet to check out your art, so I'm really excited to
Oh
do that. I
yeah,
saw
definitely.
one. I did make a vote on your Instagram, and I picked the right one. So
Good.
because
Okay. There
it was a
wasn't a right
multiple
answer. I
choice.
just couldn't get rid of like the check mark green thing.
I
I was
know, and
like,
I'm
there's
like,
no right
I
answer,
still
but
got it. There's no right answer, but I still picked the right one. So yeah,
thank you. I
I was
appreciate
like,
that.
maybe that was his favorite one too, and I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Yeah.
um but is there any other last things that you want to mention to other people, whether that be advice or maybe shout out whatever things are going on right now that you'd
Yeah.
like them to do?
I would definitely encourage anyone if you're checking this out down the road. Hopefully that that mini doc that
You're
I
gonna be at two
was talking
mil.
about is done. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But no, I just encourage everyone to just continue to learn. I never mentioned, but I used to teach photography as well, so
Okay.
I have that teacher sort of spirit inside of me too. And I just there's so much information out there. There's so much to learn. So just like follow your passion, do it, and you won't regret that. You will regret not doing that because, I know I'm only 35. I know, I'm not, it's not like I'm 80 and it's winding down, but even at 35, you will look back. If you haven't done it yet, you will look back and be like, mm, you know, that 10 years, like, 25 to 35, it's like, it goes like that.
Yeah.
So just do it. That's my advice. Just do it. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome advice. Yeah, I definitely second that. Do what you want to do with your creativity. You are living in like probably. I mean, it seems very noisy, but also it's the best era to be able to learn literally anything, everything that
Anything.
like honestly the stuff that or what you guys are watching or listening to on this video, I have learned through YouTube videos, like straight up, and some through
Amazing.
practice practically from like work or something, but like majority of this came from like me watching YouTube videos and eventually saving up money to buy equipment for this stuff. And
Nice.
you can literally learn and do anything, and I think that's what's so amazing about video. And just now it's just, if you want to learn how to do something, you can do it. You want to learn how to make 3D models, Blender's free, and there's plenty of tutorials. All you need is a decent enough computer that can run it, and there you
Crazy.
go. It's
Crazy.
wild, absolutely wild.
Crazy. And that's true too. The free software that's out there, like
Mm-hmm.
the basics, like
Yeah.
insane. So yeah, I think there's no excuse, and don't let yourself come up with the excuses. Just do it. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I've learned recently is it's like motivate people always like, "Oh, I'm not motivated." But I'm like, it's actually determination you're seeking for, because motivation comes and goes all the time. That's 100% true. It's never 100% all the time. But if you're determined, you can push through the times you don't have motivation to work on your craft.
Yeah. And do it in those times too. I know I
Mm-hmm.
said earlier, take a break. It's important to take a break too, but you
Yeah.
also have to push through. Part of being an artist in any form is pushing through when you're feeling like you don't want to do it anymore. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's actually a good. I'll toss this one in there. Have you read The Art of War is the original. So The War of Art. Have you read The War of Art by Stephen
I, f-
Pressfield?
I feel like I might have for one of my college classes, I think.
So that is a
Sounds
great.
familiar.
I would encourage anyone to read that book, and you as well revisit that.
Okay.
He talks about the resistance of the art always has this resistance, and it shows up
Mm-hmm.
in all these different forms, and you got to push through it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's another. It's just like persistence and pushing through, and when you push through those times, that's when you become a pro. That's sort of his
Right.
message. So just get up and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like anybody, whatever your talent is, like you're kind of meant to struggle through it. For me, it's one thing. For you, it's another. For someone else, it's another thing. But I feel like
Sure.
what your craft is basically the vessel that you're taking to become a better person. It's kind of a weird way to think about it, but I feel like that's how it is. It's because it's your
That's
passion.
neat.
It's
Yeah.
all you do. That is how you become like a better person or have better characters, like going through this stuff and working through it.
That's great. That's awesome, man. See
Yeah.
another perspective. Never even thought of it that
Yeah.
way.
It's just like
The
it
vessel.
just like popped in my little brain. I was like, whoa,
Absolutely. I
nugget.
honestly, I do. I feel that, and especially when I'm working on passion project stuff, I feel that I'm in the vessel.
Yeah.
You know? Whether that's, I don't know what the
I
vessel
am
is. If it's a
driving this
submarine
thing.
or a spacecraft, or it could be on a road too. That's fine. Whatever
Yeah.
the vessel is. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, it's been awesome talking to you.
You too, man.
And be sure I'll link all his stuff down below in the description. Or if you're on any other podcast listening forms, remember we have a YouTube channel, so that's where you can see the actual video of the podcasts and be able to get those links a little bit more accessibly. But yeah, thank you again so much for coming on, and we'll catch you
Thank you.
guys in the next week or the next episode, whenever that ends up coming out. I'm doing a
Whenever it
bunch right
is.
now. Whenever it is.
Whenever it is.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.
See ya. Take care.